what a win. You know, sometimes good teams have to win games like this.
That's right.
When things aren't going your way. Missouri, I think we all know they have good football players on that team. The Carolina's coaching staff talked about it all week. And just like I said last week, talking about a guy out there, the thing with their offense this year, and Brady Cook being out, Brady Cook, you know, I mentioned this a while back when he went to the hospital and then came back and beat Auburn. Got hurt, went to the hospital, came back, suited back up, beat Auburn at home. That guy's just a gutty player, and it resonates through the whole team. You know, they could have folded at halftime because they got down big again on the road, but they didn't. And then the other thing I was told during the week is they didn't say they weren't good at it. They just said, well, we hadn't been able to establish the outside zone. And, boy, they did Saturday against the Gamecocks. And that opens things up downfield. Luther Burden, obviously, Mike knows this. Y'all know this. He's a great player, clutch touchdown. And it's just like, instead of saying, and this is everybody in the stadium, the players, the coaches, the fans, instead of what normally has happened in the past around here we go again. Can't beat these guys. It's over. Carolina just drove down the field and won the game. And they did it. If you know, and I have this in my Big Spur game thoughts, and to those that are subscribers, I haven't gotten done with it because I slept in today because I probably would have fallen asleep during the show, and I didn't want to do that. So I wrote this as like, if you'd have told me before the game Noel's going to go for $150, Carolina's not going to be able to establish the run, I would have said, well, Missouri's going to win the sixth. They just got him. But no, LaNorris Sellers throws for 353 yards and 5 touchdowns. Throwing.
Yeah.
This receiving core, you know, and like we were talking to Perry a couple of weeks ago, and I agreed with him that, you know, we hadn't seen a guy that could make somebody miss and take it to the house. And I mentioned Jared Brown. I also mentioned Delvon Campbell. But as the weeks kind of went on, I thought, well, I was just being stupid because I saw one play against Akron and I overreacted. No, that guy can actually catch the ball and run. He's actually pretty fast for a guy his size. The Nevada transfer, 2 huge catches. The second one, LaNorris Sellers found him and pinned. I mean, dude, throwing back across the middle like that's hard. Stuck it in the breadbasket. How about Nick Harbor? The fade. I don't think we've seen a fade all year. I mean, it looked like the fun and gun. It looked like Spurrier was, well, shoot, let's just throw the fade to Nicky, you know? And he had a really nice game. You know, Rocket Sanders, things aren't going his way at all. But in the end, look what he did. You know, that's not a, I'm going to the NFL play. That's a, I want to win play. At the end, what he did, just knifing through those guys. And then the defense did that, you know, held them at the end with the interception and sack. Just to, you know, and I was telling a friend of mine after the game, you know, games like this happen to even great teams. I mean, I don't know why I remembered this because it wasn't a similar game flow wise at all. Y'all remember Tennessee, Lane Kiffin's one team goes to Alabama in 2009, that great Alabama team that won the national championship, the first one under Saban, and they needed a 340-pound D tackle to block a field goal to escape 7-6 Tennessee. I don't know why I thought about that game because the situations aren't even similar, but sometimes in this sport, especially this year, and especially with college football and the offenses and its offensive oriented, you're going to have a game where you're going to have to do something that's you don't normally do to win the game. And that's what South Carolina did. Shane Beamer now, you know, first coach in program history to beat 3 AP ranked teams in consecutive weeks. It's never happened around here. He is 27-21, which is 1 game off through 48 games of Steve Spurrier's record here. South Carolina is 5-3 in the SEC. They wrap it up. First time since 17. They've had a winning SEC record. And his 15-17 SEC record is not much to write home about, but it's the same record Spurrier had, the same record Will Muschamp had after that many games.
Well, and you're missing something too.
I probably am.
The tweet yesterday, or I'm sorry, on Saturday night from Brad Crawford, since the start of the 2022 season, Shane Beamer has 6 wins over top 25 teams at Carolina. That's more than Ryan Day, Lane Kiffin, Brian Kelly, Lincoln Riley, James Franklin, and Mike Norvell. So
wow. I didn't have time, obviously, to do that research because I do most of the driving. Obviously, I did let the
Well, actually,
16-year-old take it. So,
when that research was put out, you were having a bourbon with me at Michael's condo. You weren't
yeah,
driving, but I hear you.
no, I was, yeah, a guy. By the way, for those that have high school age kids that can drive,
Okay.
it's very beneficial
Yeah.
at
Yes.
times when you take them places. So yeah, they got it. So, and I'm glad we
Hmm.
killed. We didn't even sit in any traffic going in or going out either. It was a perfect weekend except for the drive down and back, but it was great. But yeah. So yeah, so that's impressive, man. Big wins mean a lot when you're trying to establish a program, you're trying to establish relevance, and that was a big one. You know, these guys, I don't know what it is. Eli Drinkwitz finds a way to scheme up Carolina, but hey,
he had a great game plan, and he always does. Mike, I discovered about halfway even in the first half, and obviously more so the second half than anything, is when Missouri was doing what they were doing on offense. But when they took the ball, I was a little surprised. Wasn't surprised after I saw the game plan. They were very confident that they could move it against Carolina, and they did to a degree, but it just wasn't enough.
Yeah. Good morning, gentlemen. They did better than I thought they would.
Yeah, me too.
I will say this, and I'm not surprised Cook played. This was the week of the ultimate cat and mouse. People that I trust were telling me Cook is going to play for Missouri, Nico was going to play for Tennessee, and Lagway was going to play for Florida. Those are the words I was getting as early or late, however you want to look at it, as Thursday morning, and all three of them played. And all three of them, a lot of people were saying had no chance of playing, and that affects a lot of things, including the Vegas odds, by the way. But look, I started last week off saying the bill was due on Mizzou. The bill finally came due on Mizzou. This Carolina team was due to win a game like this against Missouri. And kudos to Missouri. They, like you said, say what you want about Eli. Eli can design an offense, can call some plays, and gets the maximum out of his personnel, which is all you can ask out of a coach. Get the maximum out of the players that you have. And I don't say that to imply they don't have talent. They do, but I don't think it's been one of the most talented teams in the league during their stretch here. They benefited this year from one of the more easier conference schedules. And quite frankly, the fact that they fought back the way they did was impressive. But this was the game. A couple things come to mind. Number one, this is the first time you couldn't just lean on the defense this year.
Mm-hmm.
Missouri was up to the task, and they did a lot of things to neutralize what Carolina does so well in their pass rush and everything else. So you couldn't just look up at the scoreboard and say the defense is going to keep the opponent under 20, and that takes a little pressure off, and we don't have to play from behind. No, that wasn't the case. The offense, you don't win this game without a great offensive performance. And for me, this will forever be known as this was LaNorris's moment.
Yeah.
When we talk about the Heisman Trophy, which is going to be a very difficult vote this year, in my opinion, as someone who has a ballot, there's not a quarterback that stands out this year. Certainly not one from the SEC that's going to be in the lead for that. But you talk about who's got the Heisman moment when it's close. That 3rd and 10 where LaNorris is clearly going to be sacked and then rolls out and then rolling out left, throws downfield. And I mean, if you don't make that play, I'm not sure what the story is today. It might not be a Carolina victory. That's for sure. Because now you're looking at a 4th and 10 and, Missouri's offense had been able to move the ball down the field. So that's his quote unquote Heisman moment. And then when Missouri comes back and you take the air out of the building and then you respond again with another great drive, it was with those type of moments. We've seen it here and there, but in that situation, you don't win that game without your quarterback making huge plays down the stretch. So that is where you really. And we keep talking about it. I mean, he's still only a freshman. Like, there's going to be a lot of room to grow. You look at the quarterbacks in this league, every one of them, from 3-year starters to seniors to everyone, has had games and moments where they've really struggled this year. This has not been a banner year where somebody's just lit it up. But he's clearly only going to get better. And I thought, again, those moments belonged to him. I thought the play calling was really good. I mean, if you go back, who's the guy, JC, on Big Spur that breaks down? Is it Briner?
Yeah, Ben Briner.
Ben
Briner.
Yeah, Ben. He was.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I don't know Ben at all, but I thought he did a really good job with. I was just going through that this morning.
Yeah.
And
good job, Ben.
Yeah. Is he? I'm assuming he's somewhere in South Carolina.
He's kind of like one of these just film junkie guys.
Yeah.
He used to, when he worked for the state newspaper, and they kind of got out of the full-time journalism gig, and lives in Charlotte, used to live in Columbia. He's from, Ben, I apologize. I know you're from up north somewhere. We've talked about it, but I'm getting old. But he's kind of seasonal for us. He does, but that's what he does. People love to read his breakdowns, and
I think it's great.
And again, he takes the time to do it. He's not just blah blah blah. He breaks it all down. He knows the concepts. I thought Dowell had probably his best game calling plays, to be honest. And he's just a passing game guy, and the designs. We saw stuff we hadn't seen before with like I was telling somebody the other day, they hadn't thrown a fade almost all year, and here we go.
Fade.
Here's Nick Harbor, dude. I was like, wow, well, he is fast, and are you
talking about the touchdown?
The touchdown, and then the long play on the second touchdown. Yeah, that was
okay. I was about to say the touchdown we're gonna look at with Pat, because the
touchdown, he was that was a bust in coverage.
I think with that, they were blitzing the corner there, and then the safety kind of got stuck in. Yeah,
but I was talking about the one on the fade on the on the second touchdown, because he did not score on that one. But the pop pass, the Tebow style pop pass, seen that? Okay. Ben said he's from North Carolina. Northern California. That's right. We talked about it.
Yeah,
Northern
California.
Yeah, thanks for the kind words. Ben listens, because sometimes he'll disagree or agree with something, and he tweets about it. So I know he's listening. So I'm glad I got that text.
Well, I don't know Ben from Adam, but I thought that was an outstanding job. So Ben,
hats off.
Since you are listening, kudos to you, man.
That's for members only. So if you're not a subscriber, go join the Big Spur.
There you go. Yet another reason.
It is an excellent thing.
But no, there was one play, he broke it down. And again, when you're watching it in real time, it's hard to pick up all of this, even if you're watching it on TV with the benefit of instant replay. But there's one play where you've got two shallow crosses, and they're kind of crisscrossing in the middle, and then you've got two receivers from the outside, just going on a deeper cross. And like that's there's a lot of design that goes in that. It's also a lot to ask of your receiving core. If somebody screws it up, the play is blown up. But every one of them was on the right page in sync, and it set up a key play, a key first down. I can't remember which one that was to, but they all start bleeding together. But anyway, no, it was nice to see a game where the headline, quite frankly, is not the defense. It's the offense. And the headline is a player that is clearly going to be a force to be reckoned with over the next couple of years, because he's only – and what he's doing now, he's eliminating some of the mistakes that he had before. He's more accurate than he was earlier. And we said this 1,000 times, and it's true. And, DeMarco has said it, and Garcia has said it, and Orth has said it. The game just slows down for you. The more reps you get, the more starts you get. And that's clearly the case. It's just right now, the offense at times looks like a well-oiled machine, which is promising, because in 2 weeks, you're going to get to see how that offense performs in what becomes a massive, massive game. I'll just say this in closing on the bigger picture. If you could just erase one of those LSU, Alabama losses, there's no question Carolina would be sitting pretty for a playoff, which is an insane thought to think that, a team that was picked preseason in the SEC, I can't even remember.
13th.
13th, yeah.
13th? My goodness.
Well, as good as the league is, they might end up there at 5-3.
Yeah, I know, right?
It's crazy. It's
But
crazy.
this would there wouldn't even be like controversy. Carolina would be in. And there's still, I'm starting to sound like it's election Tuesday. There's an outside path if you can win Alaska. And I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's going to be really difficult. You want Ohio State to beat the bejesus out of Indiana and somehow knock them out. Obviously, you want Notre Dame to lose and knock them out. You need chaos. You need absolute chaos.
Yeah.
And I'll say one last thing. You mentioned JC and Jamie about the record, and I tweeted about this with Shane. And I don't just tweet out a bunch of stuff after every victory. But it's time to recognize what Shane Beamer has done. And of course, I got some pushback. Well, he was 5-7 last year. Yeah, I got you, big guy. What Shane Beamer has done in 4 years, you mentioned it's one off what Spurrier had. With all due respect to Steve, the SEC is a hell of a lot more difficult and better than it was when Steve took over in their first 4 years. A hell of a lot more difficult. So to me, that record is a little more impressive what Shane has been able to do in his first 4 years than what Steve, even the legend Steve Spurrier, did in his first 4 years in Columbia.